So welcome to Making Sense for this week. A couple of issues. One, we're going to look at how Donald Trump has assisted or not assisted the world and South Africa. We'll get into that in a moment. There's also a little bit of an issue with his wife and her big screen debut, and apparently he's not debuting in South Africa. We'll look briefly at why that is. And then I remember, Francis, you mentioned this a while ago. I have to say it slowly because I keep stumbling over it. De-dollarization. Did I get it right? Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. So before we talk about what Trump has or has not done for us, I'm not sure if his wife, Melania, is going to be happy or not, because it seemed that cinemas in South Africa are not going to be showing the documentary about the US First Lady, Melania Trump. It was meant to come out Friday.
So that's not South African cinemas saying we don't want to show it, right? Yes. It's the supplier saying we're not going to give it to South Africa. The distributor. So maybe that's what Trump hasn't given us lately. I don't know if I'm devastated, but Melania will not be in cinemas in South Africa.
She's not going to be. The distributor is called Filmfinity, just to update you on what they've said.
South Africans would have been lining up
I was about to say, what were you doing this weekend? I wasn't going to go watch a Melania Trump documentary. Maybe I'm alone. Maybe you were going to go and watch it. Yeah. You let us know. But what Filmfinity says, they've decided not to release it. The company not explicit in their reasons, but we know this, relations between the US and South Africa have, well, I'm going to be diplomatic about it and say, seriously deteriorated. So I wonder then...
They've hit rock bottom.
They've hit rock bottom. We're now at shale level. I wonder if it was a case of trying to keep Donald Trump happy by not showing the documentary, or we've upset Donald Trump by not showing the documentary. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe the distributor was pleasing Donald Trump.
We'll go with that one for now.
Made no bones about not liking South Africa.
There we go.
But we don't know the background.
We don't know that. Let's talk Trump and tariffs and what maybe Donald Trump has done for us or not for us as we get to the end of the week.
Okay, so Trump has done the following for us lately. He's given us a rand below 16 rand to the dollar.
Should I cheer?
A very strong rand. Yes.
Can I cheer?
Yes. Yes, it's been wonderful for South Africa. And that's because the dollar has been weakened because of policy uncertainty around some of Trump's policies, about the threats of tariffs, about the possibility that the US Fed Reserve won't be as independent as it has always been. There was even speculation. It was quashed, but there was talk that the US was going to try and manipulate its currency by buying Japanese yen, which is something that the United States hasn't done, and that has helped the dollar. He's also given us gold at incredible record highs, above $5,500 this week on Thursday. I must tell you, Gareth, it's all turned around. We're now on Friday and everything has actually changed. Gold is down. The rand is a bit weaker. It's once again above 16 rand to the dollar. So we're having a bit of a change, and that is because of Trump as well. So he gives and takes away.
Within like the space of 5 days. Yeah. I wonder though, maybe I'm misinterpreting what I'm reading and what you're explaining to me. It sounds like Donald Trump almost wants a weaker dollar, but it doesn't sound right for me to say it.
He actually does want a weaker dollar.
He does?
He does. He has said that before. And we'll talk about the reasons why. In fact, let me just lay it out, why he would want a weaker dollar. First, let's start with why a stronger dollar has been good for the United States. Yeah. So if you live in America and the dollar is strong, you get cheap imports. Stuff comes in from all over the world and you have a strong dollar, you can buy a lot of things. You can go and travel the world. But the problem has been that when the US tries to export goods, not import goods, because of the strong dollar, their own exports are expensive. So they're not selling enough around the world. And that is why Trump's base was talking about job losses in manufacturing, and people will even say the United States is de-industrializing because instead of making goods for themselves, they were importing goods. So that has been good for the lifestyles of many Americans, but there have been some fails. There have been some, what do you call it, side effects,
second order effects.
Yeah, deindustrialization. So Trump has always said, we are going to prioritize growth. We're going to get those jobs back. And remember, when the dollar was strong, what it meant for countries around the world with lower currencies, like South Africa, is that they could sell into the United States. And it lifted countries up like Lesotho that couldn't buy anything from the United States, but could sell textiles to the United States. So that was good for the global economy. Trump said, no, we're going to prioritize what is happening at home in the United States. So he actually does want a weaker dollar. And we can ask, it's a hard question because economists don't always agree, but will it work? Will it actually be beneficial for the United States in the end to have a weaker dollar?
And you need to ask the question, I mean, from either an economical perspective or a political perspective, because remember, Donald Trump is a Republican first. And I don't want to get into the world of American politics. I'm certainly not qualified for it, but it is America first. It is about preserving American jobs. It's creating more American jobs. It's about improving the American economy. And if, albeit fairly counterintuitive, a weaker dollar does that, what you said earlier, Francis, is his support base. That was the ticket he ran on.
Yes. So his economic policies are unorthodox, and commentators are saying what previous administrations have accepted is that the dollar is going to be stronger and that's going to be beneficial overall, but there will be some deindustrialization. Some factories in the United States will close. So now say Trump turns it around. There is skepticism because what he could do is fuel inflation. So he's slapping tariffs on countries here, there, and everywhere, right? So the United States may be able to export more, but those imports to the US become more expensive. And suddenly, we'll talk about oil. Oil is also going up despite his best efforts. He doesn't want that. But suddenly goods in America start going up and you have inflation. And we know that runaway inflation, it may never get there, but too much inflation is very bad. It means that prices are just going up and nobody can keep up, and it has ruined economies before. So there's always that concern about inflation. Then there's the concern, what about the countries like South Africa, like the European Union, everybody that was selling to America? What if the globe gets poorer because they can't do that anymore? What if there's a dampening on global growth? Could that even hurt the US? Because then he's doing this all so that they can export around the world. What if there's not enough wealth to go around to buy their goods? Exactly. So that is the end point. I don't think we know where it's going, but just remember that there's concerns about his policies. And before this, the world was getting to a better place. People were coming out of poverty. Lifestyles were going up. So the concerns are around what can happen to the global economy, and then even could it backfire in the United States.
And in case you're wondering why we keep focusing as well on what Donald Trump is doing every week, it's because of exactly what Francis is talking about when it comes to the power of the US dollar, the power of the US president, and the impact globally as well. So now we've spoken about deindustrialization. There's another D. I want to talk about de-dollarization. Again, going to say it slowly.
Yes.
What is this again? Because now I've heard about this in the news zeitgeist, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. Does that mean we don't like the dollar? We anti-dollar? We don't want the dollar? What does this mean?
It means that people are leaving the dollar. So the dollar has been, remember there's been a United States that has been exceptional. It's called US exceptionalism. And it was the biggest economy in the world, still is, and people loved the dollar. So it's a reserve currency, which means that if you want to buy gold on the global market, you have to get the dollars first to buy the gold because its price tag is in dollars. Oil, everything has been priced in dollars. So dollars have been used for trade. But some countries are starting to look at alternatives to the dollar. Then it's been a reserve currency in that if you had some money and you wanted it to keep its value, you would buy dollars. So everybody was buying dollars. And that kept the dollar incredibly strong. That allowed the United States to become a seriously indebted nation because people were like, oh, it's okay because the dollar will always be strong. Now, some people are looking at alternatives for trade. Some people aren't buying dollars. Central banks around the world, and this has been a trend for a while, have been selling off dollars. So de-dollarization leads to a weaker dollar, which maybe Trump wants. But it is also linked to the fact that people don't see the United States as this beacon of hope anymore, of stability, of kind of let's park our wealth in dollars because the US is safe. It means that maybe the dollar and the US is not as safe as it was.
Perhaps I'm barking up the wrong tree. I'm just wondering, if not US dollars, where do we find the safety and the security? If the dollar was always there, failing the dollar, I'd buy some gold if I was rich enough. Maybe that's not the way to go. So if not the dollar, where? So
let's not overblow this because the dollar is still the reserve currency, and many are saying, look, the problem is there are not many alternatives, but gold is one alternative, and gold is the safe haven. The dollar also used to be a safe haven, but it's no longer where investors go when they're feeling uncertain. They're now going into gold, which has been good for us, good for our market. We've seen the JSE hit incredible record highs, but that gold is also showing some concern about what is going on in the world. But the dollar, by consensus, the dollar is with us for now because, unfortunately, there are not many alternatives. So let's wrap it up there. De-dollarization is a trend, but maybe the dollar is still there and we can't overblow this weakness. It's still relatively high, but we'll follow the trend.
We will. And that is making sense of it, a complicated one this week. So I hope you got all of that. Thank heavens Francis was here to explain all of that. So we had de-dollarization, we had de-industrialization, and we had de-Melaniazation as a result of her documentary not being documented in South Africa, at least not as far as theatres are concerned. Thank you very much for watching. That hopefully made sense for this week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.